Good evening, everybody, from the summit of Mount Washington. I am meteorologist Amy Cotter here at the Mount Washington Observatory, and I'm here today to talk a little bit about what to expect weather-wise here at the higher summits of New Hampshire this weekend. But before we do that, now through Seek the Peak on July 19th, Oboz Footwear has generously sponsored our higher summits forecast to help hikers prepare for and get out there in the White Mountains and recreate safely. So we'd like to thank Oboz Footwear for not only their support of Seek the Peak, but also for their wonderful footwear that we love here on the summit. Some wonderful hiking boots, winter boots, keeps us warm all winter up here on the summit of Mount Washington. But before we get into what we're going to experience weather-wise here on the summit of Mount Washington, I want to talk a little bit about what we've already experienced here today. So we can do that using our higher summits or our current summit conditions right here on our website. So this page right here is telling us what's going on the summit of Mount Washington today. Our wind speed right now is sustained at 72 miles per hour. So our average for the month of June is right around 27 miles per hour. So it is a pretty windy day up here on the summit. And actually, if you take a look at our 24-hour data, you'll see that we reached a peak wind gust of 124 miles per hour. Now, that was a pretty exciting experience for everybody on the summit, as that is very high for this time of year. But it was probably particularly exciting for one of our new summer interns, Zakia. So Zakia went outside actually in over 100 sustained winds. So what was that like today outside?
Oh, it was breathtaking. It literally blew me away. But it was really a unique experience, not only just being out there, but actually watching it, watching the gusts progress, and actually hitting our record of being the 4th daily record. So it was a really fun experience. Once in a lifetime, most definitely.
Yeah, it was certainly incredible. Well, thank you so much, Zakia. So like Zakia said, this wind gust actually tied for the 4th highest June wind gust. So this is not a regular occurrence in June, and this is also the highest recorded wind speed on this date on June 20th in our record. So a pretty exciting day up here on the summit of Mount Washington. What's not surprising about our weather conditions right now is that we are in fact in the fog, so that visibility is less than 1/16 of a mile. And this code right here is telling us what we're experiencing, not just with fog, but also with precipitation. So we've got some light rain showers and some light drizzle going on. But let's take a look at what we're going to experience this weekend. This weekend we'll get a whole range of conditions, but taking a look at this screen here, this is a surface analysis map. So this surface chart will tell us what's going on the surface, and it gives us a good idea in terms of different surface pressure systems as well as warm and cold fronts, so those boundaries. So let's take a look at what we're experiencing here. So right here you'll see this low pressure, this big red L off to our northeast, and that low pressure has dragged that cold front across the region, which has brought quite a bit of precipitation and also strong winds behind it. And that's because if you look over here, you'll see that big blue H, which is a high pressure system. And this pressure gradient between these two systems has been unusually strong for this time of year. In the summer, we don't really get that steep of a pressure gradient. However, with that steep pressure gradient, we've also gotten those noteworthy wind speeds. But you'll see that system kind of exit to our east, and then that high pressure start to really build in. This is Saturday morning. And through Saturday, you won't really see any of that green shading, and that green shading indicates areas of precipitation, in this case rain. So we're not going to be seeing much rain on Saturday. Funnily enough, given our streak of rainy Saturdays. But then moving into Sunday is what we're going to want to keep our eye on. Our attention turns to this low pressure system to our north in that shaded area of precipitation, as well as we'll talk about later, that chance for thunderstorms with that convective activity. And then as we move into next week, we'll see some pretty warm temperatures, but that's getting a little bit ahead of ourselves for now. So for now, let's take a look at that low pressure departing to our northeast. So you can see that system moving away to our northeast, and once that system moves away and that higher pressure starts to build in, that pressure gradient weakens, those winds are going to start to dampen. However, then our attention turns, after what looks like a beautiful Saturday, to this system or this disturbance moving in from the west. So you can see it's bringing quite a bit of rainfall with it. The heaviest looks to be held to our north. However, there certainly will be effects that we want to keep our eye on in terms of what weather this is going to bring to the higher summits on Sunday. And the first thing that we can take a look at are those hourly precipitation rates. So let's zoom into New Hampshire right here. And this is going into tonight. You'll see those showers start to taper off as that cold front exits to our east. And then surprisingly enough, no shading, no precipitation looking likely on Saturday. But as that low pressure system approaches, it's going to bring a little bit of precipitation with it, as well as some convective activity. So you'll see that precipitation mostly to our north throughout the night, and then into this is Sunday during the day. So those lower amounts, probably a bit more showery here at the higher summits by the end of the day on Sunday as that low pressure exits the region. But what's really important with this low pressure is taking a look at our chance of thunderstorms on Sunday. So it could potentially be a very interesting Sunday. So let's take a look at what that's going to look like. So this map here is showing us our convective available potential energy. So the higher the level, that doesn't necessarily mean that we are going to get thunderstorms, but it's a good indicator of the potential for thunderstorms. So moving into Saturday, you won't see a ton of it. However, as we go into Saturday night, so this is Saturday night, a bit later in the night and into Sunday morning, you're going to see lots of colors on this map right here, some pretty high numbers, so lots of available potential energy, which could potentially lead to thunderstorms. However, with that high pressure building in and that air descending, it's kind of going to act as a cap for those thunderstorm formations. And so it looks like that cap or that convective inhibition is going to kind of suppress that thunderstorm formation. However, starting early in the morning when we have that high cape, but we don't quite have that high inhibition yet, we could get some potentially severe thunderstorms Sunday morning. So any storms that manage to break through that cap could be pretty explosive and severe on Sunday morning. So this system here is certainly something that we're going to keep our eye on up here at the higher summits. And then lastly, we can talk a little bit about wind. So I've rewound this a bit so we can take a look at the winds we've experienced here. So those darker colors representing those stronger wind speeds. And this is throughout the day today. So this past day, Friday, you can see those stronger winds passing right over New Hampshire here at our elevation. And then you'll see as that cold front and that cold front exits and that pressure gradient lessens or dampens, those winds are going to dampen as well, leading to a relatively calm Saturday here at our elevation. And then as that disturbance moves in from the west, we'll see those winds pick up again later on Saturday night into Sunday. Perhaps not as record-breaking as today, but certainly notable winds towards the end of this weekend before kind of dampening as we enter the work week. But let's take a look at what this means in terms of specific conditions this weekend. So right here we have our weekend hiking forecast. So here we've got our Friday night forecast. So our Friday night forecast, we've still got a couple of alerts in effect. A wind chill advisory in effect will remain through 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. However, once that lifts, we're going to be back to those seasonally average temperatures. And then that wind advisory for lower elevations will remain in effect through 6 p.m. this evening. And like I said, that wind chill advisory is going to lift at 8 a.m. on Saturday. So that really is just lingering there as those temperatures rebound. But the rest of Saturday, we're expecting fair weather skies, so in the clear under mostly sunny skies, with seasonally average highs in the lower 50s, as well as relatively calmer winds, particularly as we progress throughout the day. And then you can see that wind chill starting a little bit chillier, but then it'll be rising as those temperatures rebound to those highs in the lower 50s. Moving on to Saturday night, it looks like Saturday night will be starting in the clear, but as that disturbance approaches, we're going to see those increasingly cloudy skies as well as summits trending back into the fog with rain showers and a chance of thunderstorms late. And then as we go into Sunday, looks like we're going to be back in the clouds, potentially clearing a little bit later in the day. But what's really going to be important to keep an eye on Sunday are those chance of thunderstorms, potentially severe, particularly in the morning. And of course, with those thunderstorms, they could bring heavier rainfall as well as much stronger wind gusts possible with those thunderstorms that pop up. But that's all I have from the summit of Mount Washington today for our weekend hiking forecast. But just as a reminder, Seek the Peak weekend is just 1 month away, and there is still plenty of time to have some fun with your fundraising, to get out there, seek any hike, any day. And again, that Seek the Peak, the registration fee is 50% off through the month of June. So we certainly appreciate all of your support, and if you're interested in learning more, you can visit www.seekthepeak.org. So thank you for tuning in today, and I hope you get out there and enjoy that weather tomorrow on Saturday. Oh, a little sneak peek for the start of next week that I forgot to mention. So the start of next week, we're going to experience some very, very warm temperatures, perhaps the warmest we've experienced all year, both at higher and at lower elevations. So Saturday will really be your chance to get out there in our weekend hiking forecast. So thanks for tuning in tonight, and enjoy your weekend, whatever you get out there and do.